So we're here today to begin just an exploration into mantras. And we'll be over the next 4 weeks exploring mantras that are resonant with different times of the day. And the idea here is that these mantras are incredibly potent ways to, without the mind, without a lot of hard work, without a lot of effort, just simply drop in to something that is beyond the mind, beyond our ego story, beyond our suffering and success and happiness and pleasure and unhappiness. And just with a few simple sounds, we're able to touch something that is deep within and simultaneously beyond us and simultaneously within everything around us. So when we create these pockets of opportunity inside of our day, it's like adding little drops of color to this blank sheet. And as we have more and more of these opportunities where we invite mantra in, where we reverentially use our thoughts, our voice, our body, our intention, we use our senses to orient ourselves to a greater truth, to invoke something from deep within. As we create these opportunities throughout our day, what happens is they slowly connect with each other. And we notice over time that our day, the texture of it changes, the color of it changes, the entire flavor of how the day evolves shifts. And so you may have a very extensive mantra practice currently. Maybe you have certain mantras that are deeply valuable to you you've learned from family, or you've learned from a teacher, or you've just self-studied and found a deep connection with them. So that is beautiful. And so you may have a deep experience of how mantra grounds you and expands you at the same time. So today and in the next few sessions, we'll be taking selected mantras that are from the oral tradition. They're from the overall Vedic tradition. Many of these you may have heard and seen in other places. They're from Acharya Shunya's lineage. They've been practiced through thousands of years. So we'll be taking selectively curated pockets of these and exploring where we can bring them into our day. And you're invited to, in these sessions, simply enjoy by just taking an hour to just hear mantras, hear about them, chant them yourselves, read about them, just sink into them a little bit. You're also invited to choose one or two to slowly integrate in your own practice. So engage with this as you will. And so we're beginning with this first session at that opening time of the day. We're starting at this subtle moment when our consciousness has been in the sleeping mode. We've been sleeping. We've been dreaming in the night. And there is this shift that happens as we emerge from the sleeping consciousness to join this collective waking world. And there's something very soft about that. And I'm sure you felt it, how waking up is not like switching a light switch where you're asleep and then you're awake. There's this subtle few moments, few minutes of that transition time where you're even becoming aware that you're waking up into this common world. And at that time, we're given recommendations from the rishis, from oral tradition, that say, capture that subtlety and bring something deeply intentional to that very liminal space. So our mantras today are for that exact moment of transition. And they're for the first time we step out into the world. Mantras for greeting the day. So we'll look at these today. So let's begin. As I said, we're first beginning with those early morning, the first, you're becoming aware that you're becoming aware of your own physical body. You're becoming aware that you're entering into this waking world. And at this moment, these first two mantras that we'll explore are for those subtle moments when you're just rising out of bed, before you've even found a meditation mat, before you've even found an altar, before you've even lit a lamp, anything, before you can even, say a prayer for that moment. And they're meant to give us a template for our consciousness at this subtle time. So here we have two mantras that invoke the Devi, the goddess. And they acknowledge the divine form. And here these mantras are choosing to acknowledge that in the form of the goddess, the form of the feminine, form, shape of the divine. And we're acknowledging that Devi, that goddess, is present, ever present in our own physical body and in this natural world all around us. So it's like the moment we open our eyes, we're saying, as I open my eyes, I'm going to see the divine everywhere. And it's very easy throughout the day to see anything but the divine everywhere. It's very easy to see to-do lists and pressures and stress. It's very easy to see our goals and what we're chasing and what we're desperately trying to run away from, suffering and loss. It's very easy to see what divides us, what is me and what is mine and what is them and theirs. It's constantly othering in the day-to-day world. It's very easy to feel disconnected from nature around us as we live often in a modern world. It's very easy. These are the defaults that happen. When we quickly pick up our phone and check for emails to see if there's anything I've missed while I was asleep. We wake up breathless many times. And sometimes I hear people describe that the moment they wake, the moment they know they're awake, when they feel that sense of anxiety, like I've missed something, I forgot something, I'm already behind and I still haven't even gotten out of bed and I'm already catching up. So these feelings are inevitably bound to happen. And these prayers, these mantras shift that. They put something else in the place there. And as you explore these, you'll experience a reverberation of that throughout the day. So the first verse that we'll look at is, I'll share it here on my screen. This is the first verse where we gaze into our palms. Maybe you're familiar with this, where as we wake up, we first gaze into our palms and we say mantras. So I'll share this mantra here first. Let's read through it. Let's see what it says. So this first mantra is saying, Karagre vasate Lakshmi, Kara madhye Saraswati, Karamule stita Gauri, Mangalam Karadarshanam. So what it's saying here is, Karagre vasate Lakshmi, it's saying, as we gaze at our palms, and the practice, there's a physical practice that goes with this, where the moment we become aware that we're waking up, we wake up, we rise, we sit up, even in our bed before we've even stepped out, and we collect our palms in front of our face. And we focus here first. We focus here first before we explode out into the world. We start very intimately with our own selves. And we look just at the tips of the fingers. And you're welcome to do this now if it feels pleasant. So you're welcome to gaze at your own fingers now and just look at these tips of the fingers. And when we say Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, we say in these fingertips resides this goddess Lakshmi, this Devi. And then we look at the palms, the hollow of our palms, and we say, in my palms resides this goddess Saraswati. And my wrists, where my hand meets my arm, where my wrists are, resides as goddess Gauri or Durga. So we look at our palms in this way, and as we gaze at them, Lakshmi is representing abundance. Abundance in its most vast concept, meaning abundance that is of many kinds, of contentment, of fulfillment, of, yes, wealth, of resources, material resources of teams, supporters, companions, resource. And in the center of my palms is Saraswati, wisdom. This means that when I gaze at my palms, everything I need to know is already here within me. All the deepest knowingness, understanding, it's here. It's part of me and within me, and I hold it. And as we look at the wrists, Durga, Gauri, health, power, courage, fearlessness, vibrance, the ability to go out and act and do. So all of this is also emerging from me. From within, it's emerging outwards. Here's another definition, or not definition, another translation that Acharya Shunya gives, which expands this a bit more. You may have seen this in her Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom book. She writes that on my fingertips dwells the divinity of abundance. With her blessings, I can create all forms of personal wealth for myself with ease. And in the hollow of my palms dwells the divinity of knowledge and wisdom. I am literally holding all the knowledge I will ever need to be successful, balanced, and spiritually aligned with the highest truth. It all sits right here in the hollow of my own palms. And the divinity of personal power, health, courage, and noble deeds dwells in the root of my hand, the wrists. She is blessing me with infinite personal power. And through this chant, I'm taking into account all my divine powers upon rising so that the rest of my day will be blessed and productive. So let us chant this together. I'll invite you now to first close your eyes and imagine that you're just deeply within. Imagine that you're sleeping and you're feeling cozy and enveloped and very inward. And now, at this first moment of stepping out into the world, of opening one's eyes, first gather your palms together in front of you, relatively close to your face, so they fill your field of vision. And as you gently open your eyes, look at the wrists, look at the fingertips. I'll chant one line, and then you're welcome to chant after me. Karagre vasate Lakshmi. Karamadhye Saraswati, gazing at the palms. Karamule Stita Gauri, gazing at the wrists. Mangalam Karadarshanam. Mangalam is that. And these palms, you can then take it to your heart, or you can touch your face, or you can use them to bless your own body. Just becoming aware of your physical body as you move into the world. This idea of Mangalam means auspiciousness, and darshana means to see. I'm seeing them there. So this is the first chant that comes. And the key piece of this mantra, or any mantra, is there's a few steps to the process. First, we find out what are the words, what is the sound, and we can learn that through hearing repetitively from a teacher or from even a recording that we know has a good that we can hear clearly, or we can read it also. So we get clear on what are the sounds, what are the words, and what is the meaning. So as we're chanting, the goal is that we are able to remember the words, and then the meaning kind of lands with us. And then we create a regularity, a relationship with it. So what happens is slowly over time, it becomes less effort, less work to remember this, and it becomes easier. And we have an inner experience of it. We have an inner experience of it. So what happens is each word, each line, we're saying it, and it's like it's echoing inside of our own being. So we can chant this one more time, and as you hear the line, let it come in your ears, and then as you chant it, let it come through your action of speech, and then pause and let that meaning of, wow, Goddess Lakshmi is residing in my fingertips, these exact fingertips. I'm looking and searching for abundance and success and contentment everywhere, and she's right here. She who represents all of that is right here. So allow the meaning and allow the sound to just simply reverberate within. So we'll chant this together one more time. I'll share again the slide if you'd like to see the words. So gazing in our palms, starting with the fingertips. Karagre vasate Lakshmi. Feeling her resonate in our fingertips. In the palms. Karamadhye Saraswati. Palms full of wisdom. Karamule Stita Gauri. The root of our hands. The wrists. Power. Health. Mangalam Karadarshanam. My day is blessed with the auspiciousness of seeing the goddess in all her forms inside my own palms. This, if you'd like, you're welcome to share a word about how this mantra is landing with you. You're welcome in the chat to add a word if you'd like. And in the meantime, I wanted to share that my personal journey with this mantra is, I once had a teacher who was a guest teacher when we were studying Ayurveda many years ago, maybe 2009. And he grew up with this mantra and said, this mantra, you have to say this mantra every morning. It'll change your life. I thought, wow, that's a big promise. And so I don't know, I felt called to start it. Now, some people have grown up with this, hearing their mothers chant it. Acharya Shunya grew up with her mother chanting it. She was aware of it because her mother's voice was awakening her to this sounds. But I didn't have that blessing. I had to come to it later. And I found that this reoriented my entire way of moving into the world. Sometimes I wake up and I realize I'm waking up because this mantra is starting to come in my mind. It's like become my own alarm clock, this sound. And that brings me such joy to start my day with that kind of awareness and that kind of intention and focus. So as this perhaps becomes a practice for you, you'll discover your own power, creativity, completeness, enoughness, because you're being made of that divine consciousness. Yeah, it feels empowering and grounding. Beautiful. A sense of wonder, remembering that the divine is also within this physical way. Yes. So let's look at the second verse that we'll share today. As we now we've blessed ourselves in our palms, and now it's time to step into the world. So as we go to place our feet on the bed, we're not even out of bed yet, and we're having this divine experience. So as we go to place our feet on the ground, there's another verse we're offered here. I'll share that with you so you can see it. This verse is asking us to see the entire natural world as an expression of the Devi. And so here the verse, the mantra is Samudra Vasane Devi. It's saying the goddess who has the ocean as her garments. Parvat Sthanna Mandale. She has the mountains are her breasts rising from the earth. Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, the wife of Vishnu. Pad Sparsha Kshamasvame. Please forgive me for touching you with my feet. I'm stepping on you. So forgive me for that. So here we imagine, we visualize this world that we're stepping into is itself a manifestation of the goddess, of the divine. So let us resonate with this verse together. Let us feel how this feels for us. So as you do this, you can visualize these elements of the natural world. You can imagine. Here, I found an image that felt so beautiful and evocative. This is a image here of a expansive ocean and of mountains rising from that ocean, and the sky is light and full of sattva, full of that quality of light. And something similar kind of comes to my mind when I chant this as I step into the world. So together we can chant this. Let's look at this. I'll chant each line and then you can chant after me. So first, visualizing the entire ocean as a garment, as a draped material over the body of the goddess. So here our first line is Samudra Vasane Devi Parvat Stanamandale Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padasparsha Kshamasvame. So again, we are chanting, "Oh, dear Mother Earth, who has the ocean as her garment and mountains as her breasts, please pardon me for touching you with my feet." So this is not the default thought that comes to us most moments when we walk out of bed. But what happens when we keep this conscious awareness in our mind is it changes the way that we relate to the physical world around us. There's a humbleness, there's a gratitude, there's a feeling small but feeling held by all of Mother Nature, by the Devi. There's also a sense of responsibility. So this helps us feel more protective and nurturing and stewarding to the natural world around us. It helps us feel more in relationship with the natural world around us. So with these two mantras, we both find our personal power, we find the divine within us, we recognize it, and we bless ourselves with it. And the second mantra says, as I look out into the world, let me not see mountains and grass and buildings and ponds and rivers that are just there, part of something called nature, but let me see each of them as an expression of the divine, of the goddess herself. So we've looked within and we've looked outside at the world. And we're saying with these two mantras together, saying, I, as a divine being, empowered with all of these divine qualities, powers, capabilities, am now going to step out into the world and relate to it as something divine, as something transcendent inside of all this physical form. So it changes the way we emerge and what we feel we're stepping into. And just pause for a moment and imagine each and every morning, you had this reminder, this consistent coming home to the idea that I am the divine, full of abundance, full of wisdom, full of power. And I am stepping into something that is also divine and full of auspiciousness, humbly engaging with this world. Um, how that would change the way we ripple through our day. It has a ripple effect throughout the day. So take a moment to entertain that possibility, of you having that remembrance and having that kind of relationship and engagement with the outer world. And having that be the very, very, very first thought that comes. You've woken up from a dream where you were doing something crazy in some crazy place that makes no sense. And now you're entering something else that could very well also feel like it's something crazy. Going somewhere crazy is something else. But this moment of conscious awareness in that transition where the ego hasn't quite calcified yet. We're not, again, quite sure what all we're here to do. We're in this softened space, and to insert these ideas into that softened space is impactful. And not just any ideas. The difference between affirmations generally, or general, positive thoughts, or reading a quote from a motivational thought. The difference between that and incorporating a mantra at that time is these mantras are these sacred sounds that were not invented by somebody who intellectually thought it would be a good idea if people thought this way, or a poet or an artist who said, this is what my heart sings. Let me be creative and come up with something. These are revealed, uh, revealed utterances that came from deep within. Rishis who were in a transcendental state, and then what emerges comes out as mantra. So we're choosing very consciously what we're placing in that subtle space and allowing and inviting to rearrange our mental world, our inner world, our thoughts, speech, and actions. So let us now move to the next thing we do in the morning. We've gotten out of bed, and now we move toward the eastern direction. Now now it's time in the Vedic tradition to engage with the sun. And in Vedic wisdom, in Vedic teachings, the sun, yes, it's a source of light. Yes, it's a engine for life on Earth. Yes, it's something that we gravitate around, that we rotate around, orbit. But it's also a symbol. It's also a symbol of a physical representation of that divine consciousness, of Brahman is represented by the sun. So as we look at the sun, when we worship the sun, when we talk about the sun, we're using words and directing them toward that round circle of light, but we're seeing that it is what it's representative of and what it brings us closer to experiencing. And there's many qualities that the sun demonstrates, that the sun embodies. And these qualities are the same as the qualities we say Brahman also has that power. That divine consciousness also has that aspect of it. So when we look at the sun, when we feel the sun, we experience the sun, it's a reminder again and again and again of this divine consciousness and its potential. And in these mantras, we'll look at when we look outside of us, the sun is a reminder of Brahman's presence everywhere. as we're talking to that sun outside, as we walk toward a window or we walk toward a balcony or we come out onto the grass in the yard, as we engage with that outer sun, at the same time, we're remembering that within us is the very same light. There's an inner sun inside of us. The outside sun, it represents Brahman, that universal consciousness. And when we talk about it inside of us, we use the word Atma. It's the Atman within. So there's this inner sun inside of us. So as we explore these next few mantras that are engaging with the sun, know that we are looking without and we're looking within at the same time. We're chanting toward both. So there are these 12 names of Surya. Surya is one of the names of the sun. When we call it in its divine form, we call it Surya. So there's these 12 names of the sun, and each describe a facet or power or a blessing that the sun gives us. And we chant these in the morning looking in that eastern direction. And as we become familiar with each one, each word, each name, each one of these names of the sun has the potential to light up a whole new set of light bulbs within us. Because again, we're chanting without and we're chanting within. So each one opens a whole doorway into a whole set of possibility, potential, power, capacity uh, that reside within us. So with these 12 names of Surya, perhaps you've come to know them through a Surya Namaskar practice. You know, each mantra fits with one of the traditional asanas in that Surya Namaskar practice. Or perhaps you've heard them stand alone. We're showing this reverence, humbleness, gratitude to the sun, saying, wow, thank you for being there, sun, and gifting us all of these life-sustaining and soul-awakening gifts. But then we're also saying within me, let these also blossom within me. Let these also emerge from within me, shine from within me. So as we chant these 12 names of Surya, you'll notice that these exact qualities begin to softly show up for you in certain parts of your day throughout. You have new capacities, new faculties. First, I'll just share a 1-minute video of Acharya Shunya chanting these mantras. You can see and hear from her. She recorded this. These mantras you'll also find in the Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom book and elsewhere. But she's chanted these, and it's beautiful to see her in her garden, lit up by the sun, chanting these mantras. So I'll share these now for you to hear.
As part of a new series in which I'm sharing the beloved Vedic mantras that I have shared in my book, Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom, I'm going to chant 12 mantras that I chant every morning to the rising sun. And you can chant it too and see the difference because the sun represents eternal health, eternal life, and eternal joy. Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Bhanave Namaha. Om Khagaye Namaha. Om Pushane Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichye Namaha. Om Adityaya Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaye Namaha. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Enjoy these 12 mantras because when you offer them to the sun, your inner sun gets illumined. 1,000 times stronger.
So these are these mantras. So I'll bring up a slide now and you can read through them and we'll share them together. The first mantra here was Om Mitraya Namaha. One who is affectionate to all, who is a friend, a mitra. So I invite you now to just say this one to yourself. Visualize in front of you the sun. I happen to be in a time zone right now where the sun is just rising. It's just a little ways above the horizon in front of me. But visualize the sun and imagine it as being a friend to all. And visualize within you an inner sun. And this sun is a friend to all, a true friend, a true friend. So I invite you now to chant after me. Om Mitraya Namaha. And Namaha is like, we hear that often, but we're saluting to, we're bowing to, we're honoring that outer friend and inner friend. Next is Om Ravaye Namaha, the shining one, the radiant one. So let's chant this together, acknowledging that outer radiance of the physical sun and the inner radiance of our inner sun. Om Ravaye Namaha. And now this Suryaya Namaha, the dispeller of darkness. Yeah, the one that's responsible for generating activity. The sun is like a battery, a self-generating energy source. And within us, we have a self-generating energy source, which gives us an impulse to act and move. So let's acknowledge that. Om Suryaya Namaha. And let that idea, that word, that sound reverberate through all the layers of your own being. The fourth is Bhanave Namaha, the one who illuminates, or a bright one. So let's acknowledge that outer and inner illuminating capacity. Om Bhanave Namaha. Illuminating us with truth to ideas. Our intellect gets illuminated with this word. Khagaye Namaha, who is all pervading, who moves through the sky. It moves through the sky, yet actually we know, and also the rishis know, that the sun is steady. Because of its steadiness, we're able to experience motion and activity. So we're looking at the sun saying, you seem to be moving, but we're saying, because you're anchored, I can experience the movement, the cycles, the seasons. So there is this outer anchor of the sun, this inner anchor of the sun, but around which all movement happens. So acknowledging that anchoring, that gives us an experience of motion. Om Khagaye Namaha. The one who nourishes all living creatures. Pushne. Om Pushne Namaha. Seeing our being nourished from within, nourished from without. Next comes Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. This looks at the sun as a womb of golden colored light that has burst open. It has a self-shining existence that has brought manifestation. So there is this bursting open of creativity that the sun outwardly and our inner sun offers us. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Picture that inner sun just bursting open within. Marichaye Namaha, the giver of light with infinite rays. Those rays are just going. They're touching everything. So consistently expansive quality of the sun. So we honor that aspect. Om Marichaye Namaha. Adityaya Namaha, the sun who is a goddess, who's the sun who is the son of the goddess Aditi. So this, even though we're talking to the sun, we're bringing in this divine feminine concept as well. So it's related to that mothering aspect and shows its divine connection. And seeing ourselves also as the child of the divine, which is a beautiful feeling to evoke. Om Adityaya Namaha. Savitre Namaha, who is responsible for generating all life, the seed of life, the generator of life. The sun does that without, but within our inner sun has this capacity and potential as well. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaye Namaha, who is worthy of praise, of glory, something worthy to be worshipped. The sun represents that which is worthy of our devotion, and recognizing within we have an inner sun that is worthy of reverence and care and alignment. Om Arkaya Namaha. And Bhaskaraya Namaha, who is the giver of cosmic light and illumination. That like when you say that Bhaskara, like an expansive light illuminating us through all layers of our being. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. So these are these 12 names of Surya. They're in Acharya Shunya's book. You're welcome to come back and hear her chanting those 12 together and allowing the texture and meaning of them to resonate within you and discovering what kind of relationship that unfolds for you with the sun and also within your own inner sun. The second sun mantra that we'll chant today is one that is talking to the sun. In this mantra, we are a seeker. We are a seeker, and we're having a conversation with the sun. And we're recognizing that the sun is this source of power, this source of light, and it's a representation of the divine. And we're saying, you're a representation of the divine, but can you please just remove the covering? And have we ever all felt like this on our spiritual journey, that we're oriented to the divine, that we're focusing on the divine, that we're getting closer to the self? We want that realization. And we just feel like if we could reach out and push aside this curtain of ignorance, push aside this barrier that seems to be keeping us from really knowing it, we just wish we could. And so this prayer is putting words to that feeling that we have as a seeker, saying, I want to experience it fully. I have glimpses. I sometimes get feelings of peace. I sometimes get feelings of bliss, but I want to have there be no disconnect, have there be no intermediary. I want to have direct perception of the divine. And the sun, I see you. out of all the things in the world, it may be easier to see the divine in such a luminous form. I can imagine that maybe you're representing to me many qualities of the divine. So just pull aside that curtain, take off that lid, is what this mantra is saying. So let's look at this verse. Here we imagine that the sun is a cover, like a lid of a vessel, of a pot. And it's shining so brightly that we can't see what's behind it. We can't perceive the divinity that it represents. And so we're saying, sun, you're like the cover of a vessel, and your golden light is covering up the truth, the ultimate truth. So just remove that covering so that I, this person who is worshiping the truth, aligning with the truth, acting according to the truth, that I can directly see it, not with my eyes, but with my inner vision, with my inner knowing. So this verse, it says, Hiranmayen patren satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushan apavranu satya dharmaya drishtaye. So Hiranmayen means that golden orb. We're literally looking at a golden orb. Patrena is the covering of a vessel. Satyasya means the truth, the Brahman who is inside. There's truth, ultimate truth, and it's inside under that lid. Apihitam means it's covered. The mukham is the face. We want to uncover, and the face, we're looking for that face. Tattvam, you, the truth. Pushan, you're the nourisher of all. Apavranu, open. Apavranu, open that lid. Satya dharmaye, me who has been worshiping. I've been worshiping truth. I've been practicing dharma. So shouldn't you just open yourself now, drishtaye, so that I may see it, so that I may have a darshan, so that I may have the inner vision of that truth. So let us chant this together and feel that resonance. So this mantra can be chanted after we look at we say all the names of Surya. We recognize all that it represents. We recognize that it's within us. And then we have an ask. We have an ask. So you have all these capacities, all these powers, all this potential, and a deep seeker with a true yearning for knowledge and for wisdom and for self-awareness. What they ask when they recognize how powerful this divinity behind the sun is, how powerful the inner divinity is, we ask to be revealed the truth. We ask for direct perception. So I'll chant each line and give you a moment to either listen or to chant along right after. So as we're gazing at that beautiful sun, or at least in the direction of it, often in my practice, this is happening before the sun has actually become above the horizon, but I know the sun is there. So we're praying to the sun, saying, Om Hiranmayen Patren Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham Tattvam Bhushan Pavrano Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. Let's chant it together one more time. We're asking that sun to remove the lid of its golden lid of the vessel and reveal to us the truth inside. And we're talking to the sun outside in the sky, and we're talking to our inner sun within, saying, I'm looking at the sky, I'm talking to the sun, but I'm really also talking to my inner golden lid that can just simply be nudged aside so that I can directly perceive the soul within, the Atma. Let's chant again. Om Hiranmayen Patre Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham Tattvam Bhushan Apavrano Satyadharmaya Drishtaye. Beautiful. If you'd like, you're welcome to add a word in the chat which describes what comes up for you when you picture the sun outside, you picture the sun inside, and you have this dialogue with it. You're welcome to add a word of how that feels. Feeling steadiness and strength. Yeah. Feeling grace. And finally, no discussion of worshiping the sun, of waking up in the morning can be complete without also including this Gayatri mantra. And recently there have been many teachings and opportunities to explore the Gayatri mantra, so we won't go into much depth in this session today. If you would like to continue exploring Gayatri mantra, there's a resource of like a 4-day-long retreat that Acharya Shunya did on the Gayatri Mantra inside the Vedic Study Circle library. There's a session we did in January where we explored creating altars and talked a little about the Gayatri Mantra in that context as well. That's there. Some of you have recently attended the Gayatri Mantra Sadhana series that happened last month. And again, we are hoping very much that again happens next year. So keep an eye out for that as well, if this mantra resonates with you. So let us look at this mantra and let us spend a moment connecting with it as well. The Gayatri Mantra, it's the word Gayatri is actually the meter that the mantra is composed in. It's also called the Savitri mantra, meaning the sun. It's to the sun as well. So this mantra, again, you may be very familiar with and have a practice around, but this is the moment. I mean, any moment in the day is a wonderful time to connect with Gayatri mantra. In this mantra, it says Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. It's saying that we are meditating upon that supreme reality. So we're saying out loud to the universe, I am now directing my thoughts, my intention, my full presence I'm putting oriented to the direction of that supreme reality, that Brahman, which is outside in the sun, which is inside in my inner sun, which I know to be a source of the physical, mental, and spiritual worlds. May the divine, who is so worthy of adoration, guide our intellects and illuminate our understanding. So may it guide my mind. May it be the thing that's driving my activity, that's driving my thought, that's energizing and powering me throughout the day. There are layers and layers and layers of meaning with this mantra. And you can explore those resources I mentioned. You can begin to just cultivate a practice with it yourself and see what insights emerge from you. But let us chant this together because it's very auspicious to include it in this cluster of sun-related and early morning-related mantras. So I'll chant each line. You can chant with me or you can chant just after if you'd like. And as you begin, just imagine your physical body is pointed toward the sun, and you're giving your mind permission to rest there. It doesn't have to think of anything else. It doesn't have to do anything else, solve any problem, get out of any sticky situation. It doesn't have to improve itself in any way. You're just giving yourself permission to be 100% present and looking only toward that supreme reality and asking it to guide you, to illuminate your understanding, to align you with its presence. So let us chant. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. So this is that mantra. So with these verses, with these chants, we have come out of the sleeping world into the waking world with conscious awareness. We've seen our own physical body as a part of the divine by gazing into our palms. Then we raise our eyes to imagine the entire natural world around us, and we see that as a manifestation of the divine. As we step out into the bed, off the bed. And we've walked toward an eastern direction. And whether the sun has risen or not, we know it's there, just around the corner, the edge of the earth. And we've called out to it, using names that say, I recognize these powers and qualities, faculties, potential, source in you. And I'm also recognizing they reside within me as my own inner sun. So we've called out to it outside, we've beckoned to it from within. We've said, now that you know I see you, and within, now that you know I see you, just do me a favor and remove that covering. Just let me experience the full, direct knowledge of that supreme ultimate truth. And so we make that one deep, deep ask from our heart. And then we bring out this Gayatri mantra, which is one of, but such a potent mantra that the rishis, when that covering was removed, when that veil was cast aside, and they had a direct perception of that supreme reality, what emerged from within them, what they saw fully formed was the Gayatri mantra. And they said, this mantra brings you back home. So it's almost like emerging from that sun, emerging from that supreme reality comes this thread saying, follow this thread of this Gayatri mantra, meditate on this supreme awareness, and watch how you come closer. And closer means simply just move deeper within to that presence, which is eternally there. So perhaps this is your morning flow, but I invite you to just take a moment to pause and imagine that this set of actions, which when practiced on your own takes minutes, maybe 5 minutes, Imagine each day beginning with that reverence, awareness, orientation. It's like recalibrating your compass before the world takes over, before the world clouds your thoughts and thinking. So, this is the invitation of these mantras today.